You felt it. The group project where one person did almost nothing and got the same grade. The roommate whose dishes somehow multiply in the sink while yours never do. The coworker who's been in meetings all day and still hasn't shipped anything. The dinner bill split evenly 6 ways. When one person ordered 2 cocktails and the lobster, and you had a salad. The sibling who's always so busy the week your parents need help moving, and always free the week there's a birthday to celebrate. And the feeling that follows isn't mild annoyance. It's fury. The kind that feels strangely personal. The kind that has you replaying imaginary arguments in the shower days later. You've probably told yourself you're overreacting. You're not. That reaction is one of the oldest pieces of software your brain still runs. It wasn't built for group projects or Slack messages or dinner bills. It was built because, for most of human history, a freeloader wasn't an inconvenience. A freeloader could get you killed. Here's what most people get wrong about hunter-gatherers. They imagine rugged individuals surviving through strength alone. Reality was almost the opposite. No one survived alone for long. A successful hunt didn't mean the hunter took the mammoth home. The meat was shared, sometimes according to strict customs that determined exactly who received what. Not because early humans were unusually generous, but because meat spoiled within days, hunting was unpredictable, and today's successful hunter could easily become tomorrow's hungry one. Sharing wasn't charity, it was insurance, and everyone paid into it, which also meant everyone watched who was paying in. In bands of 20, 30, maybe 40 people, anonymity simply didn't exist. There were no performance reviews to manipulate, no email threads to hide behind, no manager too busy to notice. Everyone knew who hunted. Everyone knew who gathered. Everyone knew who consistently showed up. And everyone noticed who always seemed to have an excuse. Imagine sitting around the evening fire when someone casually remarks, "Funny how Tarek always manages to miss the difficult hunts." Nobody argues. Nobody needs to. By the next morning, everyone knows. That's what gossip really was. Not idle chatter, a survival technology, a reputation system running in real time. And if someone repeatedly took more than they gave, the consequences escalated. First came whispers, then ridicule. Then exclusion from the next hunt, the next meal, the next fire. If nothing changed, there was one punishment left: exile. Today, being excluded from a group chat is annoying. 10,000 years ago, being excluded from your band often meant starvation. That pressure shaped both sides of human behavior: the pressure to contribute and the pressure to detect people who didn't, because a band that tolerated too many freeloaders wouldn't stay a band for very long. Honest contributors would eventually stop carrying everyone else. Cooperation would collapse, and with it, everyone's chances of surviving the next harsh season. Now here's where it gets tested in a lab. Not just a campfire story. In 1913, a French agricultural engineer named Max Ringelmann ran a simple experiment. He had people pull on a rope, alone, and measured the force. Then he had them pull in groups. Logically, more people should mean more force. It didn't. The bigger the group got, the less effort each person quietly put in. Not because they were lazy people, because nobody could tell individually how hard any one person was pulling. Psychologists later gave this a name: social loafing. And the pattern holds up everywhere researchers have looked for it since: clapping, shouting, brainstorming, pulling rope. The moment individual effort becomes invisible, average effort drops, which is the exact opposite of how your ancestors lived. In a band of 30, effort was never invisible. It couldn't be, so the instinct to notice and punish free riding isn't paranoia. It's the thing that kept the Ringelmann effect from quietly destroying every hunting party in human history. And here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Economists Ernst Fair and Simon Gachter ran an experiment in the early 2000s that's now famous in behavioral science. Small groups, a shared pool of money. Everyone could contribute to it, or keep their share for themselves. Free riders, the ones who kept their money while everyone else contributed, came out ahead. Every time. Until Fair and Gechter added one option: Let players spend their own money just to reduce a free rider's payout. No benefit to themselves. Pure cost. People used it anyway. Again and again and again, participants paid real money out of their own pocket for the sole purpose of punishing someone who hadn't contributed. Economically, that makes no sense. Evolutionarily, it makes perfect sense. You are not just built to detect freeloaders, you are built to want to pay a price to stop them, which explains far more of your own behavior than you'd like to admit. The passive-aggressive group text, the pointed comment about the dishes, the energy you'll spend being annoyed about a bill split that cost you $11. That's not about the $11. It never was. There's also a formal name for the mental tool doing all this work. Evolutionary psychologists Leda Cosmides and John Tooby found something remarkable when they tested how people reason. Give someone an abstract logic puzzle, most perform surprisingly poorly. Change almost nothing. Wrap that exact same logical structure inside a story about someone taking a benefit without fulfilling the obligation that earned it. And performance improves dramatically. Same logic, same puzzle, different context. Across cultures and educational backgrounds, people suddenly become much better at spotting the violation. It's as though the brain wakes up the moment cooperation is being exploited. Whether you call it a cheater detection module or simply a highly specialized cognitive adaptation remains debated, but the pattern itself is striking. Humans appear unusually good at noticing broken social contracts, which explains why the emotion rarely feels proportional. You can tell yourself, it's just a group assignment. It's only a sink full of dishes. It's one missed deadline. It's $11 on a dinner bill. And the anger still arrives instantly because the part of your brain producing that emotion isn't evaluating your quarterly goals or your restaurant math. It's running an ancient calculation. Someone is taking from the shared pool without paying in. If this continues, cooperation breaks down. If cooperation breaks down, we don't survive. Of course, your ancestors lived in bands where almost every contribution was visible. You don't. Your coworker may genuinely be buried in invisible work. Your sibling may be carrying a weight at home you know nothing about. Think about a friend with ADHD who seems distracted mid-conversation or misses a deadline they swore they'd hit. Your ancient cheater detector doesn't see effort. It sees output. But researchers like psychologist Russell Barkley have spent decades showing that ADHD isn't a knowledge problem or a caring problem. It's a performance gap, a very real difference in how the brain manages time, working memory, and follow-through, even when the intention is completely genuine, which means the exact same ancient alarm that once caught actual free riders can now go off on someone who is, quite literally, trying harder than you'll ever see. The system that once operated with nearly perfect information now has to make judgments using fragments. Yet it still fires with prehistoric confidence. Like a smoke detector screaming because you burned toast. It's not broken, it's responding exactly the way it was designed to, just in a world it was never designed for. So the next time an unanswered message, an unfair group grade, or a pile of dirty dishes makes you irrationally angry, remember what your brain thinks it's seeing. Not laziness, not bad manners, a threat to cooperation itself. For hundreds of thousands of years, noticing freeloaders helped keep human groups alive. The strange part is that the same instinct now treats a forgotten chore or a rope nobody's really pulling almost as seriously as a failed hunt. Your world changed, your brain just hasn't fully gotten the memo.